then kill him afterwards once his bow time had worn off. But I suppose Deppy was actually keeping his Astral as more of a defensive play because of X marks the spot. So it was a very catch-22 per place where you can either be very aggressive with the Astral or be very defensive.
Look, for me, XTC just got outdrafted here. I mean, coming into the next game, you can see the very high mechanical skill level of the players of XTC. The problem is that their heroes just couldn't do anything against the White Rabbit lineup. The early rotations, I mean, geez, they just didn't have the heroes to deal with that. They really didn't. I mean, the Weaver this is like, the worst Weaver game you could ever think of right now.
Yeah.
Adassim couldn't do, well, I don't want to swear, but Jack SSS. Yeah. But my point is that coming into the next game, XTC really have to watch out. They really have to draft a little bit more clever. And if they see the draft swinging one way, they really need to change up. And they know they've been practicing strats. Everyone's been practicing strats, but you have to try be a little bit more versatile in your thinking. Yeah. Try do something unexpected, a sucker punch pick, maybe, something like that.
If XTC is listening to us by some miracle, that is what you boys need to do. Regather, refine where your strengths lie. So without further ado, it is out for the moment until game number 2, Jabba and Succubus, handing over to the boys at the panel. Take it away, ladies.
Hull, baby Birdbeard.
Just had to get that one in there. Yeah. One last little... I can still hear you laughing. What is this?
Just cuts off.
We'll never know if she was going to actually apologize or just make more fun of me.
Yeah.
Oh, we can bring them back.
I'm sorry, Devin. I love you.
Oh, well. That seems sincere enough. So, gentlemen, obviously we expected Energy Esports to take this first matchup, so not surprising. Was there anything, however, that stood out for you as particularly impressive? Or
there's a lot of close games. It doesn't matter what game, opponents, who they are and stuff. But, yeah, apart from the Energy and APG first game that we saw on the first day, this is a second convincing win in the tournament. Yeah, 33-11. Yeah.
I think WRG, they're comfortable. They took one stumble. It's by Energy where they sort of got, for a change, outdrafted. I agree with what Succubus was saying. I feel like XC potentially got outdrafted here. They didn't exactly play to their strengths. Maybe a couple of question marks about the Weaver. Is it really the right thing to be running here or not? But again, it's a new meta. Who knows, really? Maybe they do feel it's good and they just couldn't execute it properly.
So I think we could all agree that probably XC wouldn't be pleased with that performance. Obviously want to try and emulate something to the effect of what Energy did in their matchup against WRG. Do you think there were any sort of shining moments that they kind of go like, okay, so if we do more of this, then maybe we have a chance, or was it all really one-way traffic?
I thought it was pretty one-way. To be fair, we had hopes for XTC's draft. The OD was pretty good. And Deppy is just a very strong mid player, so there was no way that we could disagree with anything about XTC's draft. But in the end, yeah, it was that WRG came out as the better side.
Yeah, and no real surprise. I mean, Kosovo is playing on Ember Spirit again. They had the CM to keep him sustained. They had really, their draft just looked good all round. It was a pretty comfortable one for them. I mean, we saw the network graph. It was... at the 10-minute mark, it's where it just started to escalate out of control, and XTC just couldn't clamber their way back into the game at that stage. So, again, no real big surprise that this game went this way. But XTC, they can definitely go back to the drawing board here, and in game 2, maybe potentially look at a different sort of draft, maybe a different play style towards how to deal with Castaway, realizing, okay, he still gets more than enough, even in a lane that could favor Deppy. How are we going to deal with this? Yeah,
no, I agree with that. Even for Adastam, Weaver is a hero that is very good even for sustain, for late game. It will cope out pretty well, but just having been knocked down by WRG, especially what Scarpy mentioned about Castaway's Ember Spirit, was amazing.
Right, and okay, so we also saw some new heroes. So that was pretty cool. How do you guys feel about the Luna?
The Luna worked out well. I mean, got the farm. Welp did what Adastam should have been doing, I think. Not get close down and have the supports, but as Scarpy also mentioned that Santo played a very good Crystal Maid in there, just to keep the guys in lane. Well, the Aura does it itself, but she was always there to support.
Yeah, one of the things is Adastam's hero has no farming mechanic, really. in comparison to that of a Luna. Luna can just go from camp to camp, farm up very efficiently, far more quick. What Adesam was looking for is we need kills, we need to get objectives, we need to force this Luna into sort of a situation where he has to split push and we can trade objectives for his farm. But it just didn't work out that way. I feel like the execution maybe wasn't there for XTC, or maybe they feel like the draft just didn't favor them and they couldn't really pull it off.
I've always found Luna quite an interesting hero because in the past we've seen that a lot of times when the hero almost seems to disappear from the meta, and suddenly it just like comes back. We just see like just one random game where people pick it up and they try to get something a little special out of it, which I find it kind of curious because obviously the mechanic of the hero is quite good, right? It's a fairly aggressive carry. It has a very good team fight ulti, and it's a fantastic pusher. Or at least once you have a Dragon Lance off and you get some glaives bouncing around. I mean, one of the most beautiful things in Dota in my mind is when you get down a tier 3 and you just start causing absolute havoc with like a man style up on Luna, just glaives absolutely everywhere. So it's quite nice to see that hero sort of getting some sort of love.
Yeah. I want to follow up with that as well. That goes the same with the Kunkka, where as a support you set up the kills, you start with initiation, X mark the spot. And then there's also the ghost ship where in this beta it's exactly where you target it to be. So great pickup.
Do you guys think, on this note of like these heroes are being picked up, WG, they've picked up heroes that no one else has now, and we haven't seen a huge amount of them, but I would say this would be one of the matches that they would be taking seriously. So how much more do you think is in the bank? How much more WG surprises do you think we're going to get?
I think for a team of their caliber, they have a big pool. I don't think there's a limit. I think every team that's going to go up against them can come in with whatever plan they want. WRG are going to have a pretty decent answer to them. So I don't think if for the teams that are going to be going up against them, you don't want to draft to beat WRG, you want to draft to your strengths. I think that is something that everyone should emphasize on. I believe that's potentially the only way that you are going to bring them down, and I think that's how Energy did it. I think that was pretty much the recipe for success from them.
Bringing out the DP, catching WRG out. Yeah, you're right. And also, WRG has a lot of plans up the sleeves. We can see that they picked up the Weaver, they picked up the OD, but still they managed to take care of it. Although the OD was 4th picked, they still managed to, let's say, Weaver, for example, they've got the heroes for it, and you can counter the Ember Spirits of Castaway, but is it possible? It's all about the in-game mechanics, and Castaway definitely has the upper hand.
Yeah, you hit a point there. You can counter out the Ember on Castaway or whatever, Invoker, whatever you want. At the end of the day, they're going to create space for him with Whelp. If then Whelp's going to get a lot of farm, then you're going to want to shut him down. In that time, Castaway is going to find tremendous amounts of farm and catch up if necessary.
So here's a terrifying statistic about Castaway. At the moment, this man has 53 kills, 7 deaths, and 65 assists with a KDA of 16.86.
I don't think that death actually increased much.
Yeah, he didn't die in the last game.
Yeah, so that's 7 deaths since Friday or Saturday, but still that's pretty amazing. That's like 8 times more kills than what you have in deaths, and that's not really not easy to have.
It's pretty horrific. And just as a comparison, I think we'd all sort of agree that the star player of the XC lineup would be Adestam.
Yeah.
And he's sitting at 46 kills, 15 deaths, and 45 assists with a KDA of 6.07. 3 times the sort of KDA, which, and obviously the kills aren't that much higher, but he's getting the same amount he's getting more kills and giving away less, but in a big way. And I think that's probably one of the most impressive stats that I've seen in a long time. And I think just going through this, looking at people that are sort of, up there as far as KDA goes, I think the highest we have is, I think that 7.38 is on DDP. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, so they're both against each other. They have, I think Depi has the capability to do what Castaway does, especially, how they have Adestam and a Depi on XTC, Castaway and Whelp on WRG, and if they have good farm, if they get a good early game, they have a very strong mid game, and then they could just win. But with I don't know, I think just WRG, as Chidawi said in the interview, they have a very solid team, and he believes they have the best players in the team, and so do I.
Yeah, I can only agree with that. There's not much more you can add on the back of that. WRG just outright the favorites. I think their statistics are very interesting, though. I believe probably most of those deaths are going to be from that energy game on Castaway as also. It's like one individual game that could have meant a massive difference in probably some outrageous stats that could have been coming out in his favor.
Well, it's just pretty crazy because everything else looks so tame compared to. I mean, as the second runners up are both from XTC, but they're just nowhere near it. But right, I mean, it's interesting to leave us on some stats for a bit, but we will be taking a very short break. Excuse me. We're going to the lobby. Never mind.
So like
no break at all. In fact, we will be going straight into the lobby in about a minute. So. It's going to be a very interesting game. We're going to have obviously XT that really wants to change things around, try to bring down this KDA ratio and Castaway in a big way.
a funny thing you mentioned about a break, I think they kind of need it. You know, just to have a 1 minute team discussions like we can do this. XTC would be saying we don't want to get knocked down to play against Ian. We want to win this, and 2-1. It's not impossible, but WRG is a very solid rock.
You've said the exact thing that I wanted to bring up. You don't want to go down to that lower bracket, because if you're playing in that lower bracket, you win that lower bracket, that means you have to sit in your booth and instantly go into a game against, let's say, WRG, and you don't really have much time to talk about it. You're going to a best of 5. It's a marathon, really, and they're probably going to get half an hour break. The lower bracket is definitely a difficult place to be, and I think they go in with 1 game disadvantage if you are coming from the lower bracket, so that is something that that can sort of have an effect on the players in the sense. I mean, it's a full-on marathon from lower bracket, best of 3 into a best of 5 almost immediately.
You know what? I think I want to believe in XTC to win this game. Not necessarily the series, but if they do win this game, right, they have the confidence to take game 3 as well.
Potentially, but just to go back to what Scarpy said, it's pretty scary. I mean, think about this for a second, right? I think often tournaments you'll find just have a winners bracket final the day before, right? So this time having it on the same day means that if you lose this match, right, you have BO3 potentially 3 games, then you have another BO3 in your lower bracket, which is another 3 games, and you have BO5 after that. It is winning this game is probably the single biggest advantage any team can get in this tournament. And of course, with WG just 1 ahead, it is pretty insane. And as Scarpy mentioned, there's a game advantage on top of it.
Yeah.
So a lot less Dota, a lot less fatigue, and you're 2 wins away from winning the entire thing. And what a thing it is! I mean, we're not talking about sort of a small event that we were hosting. This is the inaugural VS Gaming event, if you would, since it is the first sort of branded VS Gaming event. And you get to be that sort of champion. Maybe somewhat fitting that the Masters champions from last year could be the ones to take it. But they still have a bit of a road ahead of them, and XC will certainly not be too keen to give them that opportunity.
Yeah, it's a tight road, these 3 teams. I'm going to say that with my predictions, XTC is probably going to take a 2-0. I mean, no, sorry, WRG is going to take a 2-0. And yeah, I think, as you said, it's a big advantage to get to the grand finals. Sitting up top, waiting for the lower brackets finals to battle it out against each other. But yeah, this is a tough one.
Yeah, well, I think we have something to show you guys. So why don't we jump to that quickly and enjoy some words from XTC.
My name's Dennis, Dota and Die. Play for XTC, I'm the captain. What it means to captain this team is a lot. Worked really hard to get into Masters, worked our way from the bottom, and yeah, now we're top 3 on the log, so it feels great. How XTC is going to fit into the scene over the next 2 years, really good. I think we're a very strong side. We only have a bright future ahead of us. I think we may have some inconsistencies, but we're one of the stronger teams in terms of talent. We've got very impressive players, so I think we're very optimistic about the future. It's a tough question, especially for a captain to answer. You can't say no, we don't have what it takes. I think we definitely have the potential to do it, but unlocking the potential is in question. We've only been together for a few months, and this is the first time we've actually all gotten together and met one another. So we're a relatively new side, but obviously that's no excuse. I think top 2 is very realistic, and I think we do expect it. But first place, we'll just hope for the best, go in with as much confidence as we can. Definitely Deppy, Aiden. He's got the highest MMR in our team, probably 3rd highest in South Africa as well. He's very competitive, hates losing. he'll do whatever it takes to win. Probably Energy. We faced them in League 1 and that went well. We beat them consistently, but as League 2 came, they got on form and they started playing far better. They looked like a different team. We still think we can definitely take them. I think it's 50-50, but they are very impressive. Who are we going to dominate? Definitely Pulse and whoever comes up next.
Great. I mean, I like the fact that whenever that interview ends, like, definitely Pulse and whoever comes up next.
Yeah.
He's got this sort of confidence about him.
I like it.
And it obviously talks a lot to the team. And I think as we've been around here, we've actually spoken quite a bit to the XT players and said that they do seem quite, I'd say, cool about the situation. I think they do believe in themselves that they can go all the way. It's almost like, I would say, it's tainted by realism. They know how good WG are, but certain guys just want to. They're not here to come second. They're certainly not here to come third. So one way to make sure you're not third, well, that's where you beat WG right here, right now, right?
Yeah, it would be quite a surprise to see XTC waiting in the grand finals for WRG and Energy battling it out in the lower brackets. It would be one of the treats to watch, but as you said, the tenets of realism, definitely in this tournament, WRG the favorites to win this, so it's very unlikely, but I am going to stick to what I predict. It's 2-0 to WRG.
Yeah. You don't get to change it anyways. It doesn't work that way.
Cool.
But we are about to jump into the draft, and we'll see what these two teams have in store for us. I still really think that there's a couple of heroes that are really I'm quite keen to see get a little bit more love, and I'm hoping we see it. Is the likes of Sven. I think Sven's actually been, I'd say it's been considered. It's been given a 63% pick and ban rate, which is certainly nothing to shy away from. But we've only actually seen 3 games where Sven actually picked up. So it'd be nice to see a good Sven game make it through in this one.
I think Adestam would be a good Sven. Well, actually, Walp as well. Man, it would be nice. Second game of the series, picking up something that deserves to be seen as well. I mean, we've seen. I think it was Kotza that played really well. Just communicate with the team. So with a hero like that, you can get the armor boost, you can get the stuns in. So a carry with a disable, something that's very useful for us as a team as well. But as we always say, it's always going to be a Warlock first pick, and then with the Trent and Kotza out there as well. Oh, banned out as well. There's a Legion Commander out on the loose.
I think the Sven, and you talk about Adestam and his potential Sven. I remember reading a tweet that he wrote before this patch came out, and he says, "Please make Sven great again," because he really played that hero quite a lot, and he had quite a good success rate on it. So I would like to see XTC pick it up for themselves. I think that could potentially be the one hero to sort of turn this best of 3 around, put them into 3 games. We must also keep in mind that XTC could potentially be playing 10 games in a row here. 10 games of Dota in a row. The mental fortitude is going to have to be really, really there for them.
Man,
10 game does sound a lot, actually, because you're coming into this tournament, right? And then these are our 3 key drafts, for example. But you have to play 10 games, which means you got to pick out a full strats in one of the, let's say, 1 in every 3 games. Very, very good first. There you go. Position 4, Shadow Shaman. What are you going to do next? XTC doesn't know.
Yeah, Shadow Shaman's really good in lane because he's sort of like the ranged treant now. He hits really, really hard. I think he's hitting like 70 physical damage. He's also got pretty decent lockdown. I think he's actually been one of the favored support picks in this tournament. So, I mean, it's a really nice opening. But, yeah, there we go. We see the Slardar. We saw it run on support for them yesterday. We'll see if that will happen again this time around. Yeah,
good initiation hero, I must say. Oh, it's a Night Stalker once again. I think they're just going to stick with what they have, hey? Like, they played this last game. It didn't go well, especially in early game. But if they can fix that, they can take on WRG early game and then, try to make the best of it. Get the Agnum Scepter on Night Stalker, for example, make it fun.
Yeah, they ran...
How dare you, sir? The Agnum Scepter on Night Stalker isn't fun.
It's fun.
It's a horrible thing to do to somebody.
Well, it's fun for XTC.
Yeah, sure.
Well, they kind of need to win
for
this
no
game,
one else
right?
involved. Fair enough, fair enough. I feel like we've seen these two blue friends together quite a bit though, Slardar and Night Stalker. Seems to be they quite like picking them up together. Both pretty fantastic chasers. I guess that's part of the strategy in this case.
Yeah, to start off with, you kind of have the vision from Night Stalker, and then that just allows your initiator, gives him so much ease to find a hero. Catch out Shadow Shaman, for example, and then 4v5. And I don't think White Rabbit Gaming wants that. They're a very strong 5-player. Their initiation and everything is key, but losing a Shadow Shaman is probably not what you want because he's got so much disable.
It's also scary to draft into a Night Stalker sometimes because he does have a long duration silence at night, which is a bit of a concern. And I believe they run the position 3 Night Stalker and the position 4 Slardar.
The Abaddon once again. This is, I don't know, like I feel that XTC should have, this is hindsight, but they should have seen the Abaddon coming. If not the Abaddon, it's the Dazzle, which is also a very good Slinks hero. But no, nonetheless, it's being picked right now. 2 supports, and then the offlane over there by XTC, and then also banning out the Ursa. So there we go. Adestem Ursa gone. It's quite scary so far.
Yeah, I think the Ursa ban is quite nice. We saw Adestem sort of crash with that a little bit.
Yeah.
If there's some sort of chance, maybe Abaddon could be going into the offlane. I don't think Shidawi struggles with that hero. It's sort of a hero that mans up and can fight. So it's interesting. The draft so far, but like you say, it's more than likely going to be Schling's hero. He can debuff, I think, the silence with his shield. He can debuff the slow that comes out from the Slardar. So these are all tools that they have with that Abaddon. And of course his heal. Yeah,
at the meantime, very difficult to kill as well. So yeah, this is, I think, XTC's time to just, discuss what is going on here. Why? Not why, but what we have to do with banning out the Enigma is also a very good thing. Just taking out the AoE, and yeah, with the Enigma Ember Spirit combo, that'd be pretty harsh. And then now with the Lifestealer ban as well, just to counter the Adestem picks.
I don't know if we actually had a Lifestealer pickup.
We
did have one.
Adestem with that long tail on the skin. Yeah. It's really cool.
So he's still getting a fair bit of love, and as far as bans go, I think it's more so when they start seeing the possibility for some Lifestealer bombs that it would be particularly effective.
Yeah.
But it hasn't actually been picked up too much.
No, there hasn't been a Lifestealer bomb yet in this tournament.
Wow.
No, that's
cancelling out as well, yeah.
This is a deja vu draft again. I mean, I think XTC, I don't want to sound like a downer here, but I feel like they're saying, okay, if we don't beat WRG with this draft, let's at least not expose our other sort of drafts that we have in our back pocket to Energy, who are sitting outside watching this game. They're drafting a very similar draft to the previous one, and I think that might be their plan. I don't want to say they don't feel confident in winning this, and I don't want to pull out those strats to beat WRG, but I also don't think they want to give away too much because they might have a long day.
This is still, I mean, as you mentioned, we've seen this before, but I think we've seen this not just from XTC. There's like this trio seems to be quite popular at the moment in general, so there's always something to it. Well, the gyrocopter coming out now as well. The last time I think we saw the gyrocopter was when Cotter played it.
Yeah, and also losing with the gyrocopter. I'm not sure, we'll check the stats later, but for now, I believe that Whelp is going to farm up just as well as he did last game on the Luna as now on the gyrocopter. I mean, it's a very farmable hero where you have also a reliable Santo on the Shadow Shaman running around just trying to grab at whoever's keen to take down Whelp of WRG. But here comes the Lycan, and I feel Lycan is a very suitable hero for Adestem. And with the support to disable like Jakiro and the silence from Night Stalker, this could work out really well. And I can't forget about Slaughter's Crush.
Lycan as well as Night Stalker, of course, a very good combination.
Yeah.
As in nighttime, your Howl gives double the damage, double the HP. So that is something that we must also consider. So, and I mean, when you have a Night Stalker, it's not more than it is day. So they're going to have that potential for push. They can utilize that. They got a Jakiro as well who can siege buildings pretty well. So, but
yeah, that just happened. I feel like sometimes just as opponents, just sort of brace yourselves for it.
Yeah, I love discussing the drafts, and then suddenly Invoker comes out for Castaway, and then
Silence.
It's done. Yeah, everything is done. Yeah, but as you said, you're right about the Night Stalker Lycan combo. Lycan being picked fourth pick is the correct option for XTC as well, because they're just targeting Adestam bans, and if you pick Depi, then Adestam has to go last, and then there's just so limited heroes to pick. But for now, I'm keen to see what they want to pick up for Mr. Offlaner on the WRG side.
I gotta say, it really is like a quiescence, just you let this. You don't ban out the invoker, and you just passively just okay,
accept it.
It's gonna come.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to deal with this at some point.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get lucky almost, and they pick up the Ember Spirit. I say lucky, but it sounds ridiculous, right? But this is once again a person we were just chatting about who has such a ridiculously large KDA in comparison to everybody else in this tournament so far.
Yeah.
And we spoke about Energy having quite a hard trip to I guess technically to the low bracket, but partially that was through WOG, and so it's not like WG have just had to play with some of the weaker teams to get to this point. They've actually played one of the sides we consider to be one of the strongest. So Castaway is scary, man.
Castaway is very scary. Bang out the TA for XTC Gaming, so there goes the Depi TA, the more popular pick for him. But the offlane, there's a Legion Commander still on the loose. Do you think they can manage with that hero? I think so. Or not. Starts with the L. Both heroes start with the L. I'll go with that.
Yeah, so I actually pointed out when the Abaddon got picked up, they can potentially just throw him on the offlane. And it seems like it's going to be a Shtawi Abaddon. And unless they're going for a core Lich, that would be entertaining.
No.
But I don't think we'll retrogress to that. I think, Shadow Fiend is the perfect pick here. I think that's a very strong DP hero, so I like it.
It's gonna be interesting to see. I've actually really been looking forward to these kind of matchups between these two. I think Depi has really been. I think he's really earned the spot as a mid that you have to be very, very careful of and very, very diligent about dealing with. And of course, this is kind of one of those sort of dream stuff in matchups when you get to see Castaway and Depi go 1-1 with a fairly, very competitive heroes. Not in case we see like an OD versus an Ember Spirit, which technically should be a bit of one-way traffic. So this should be a little bit more fun and definitely a lane to watch. I'm sure our casters will be kind enough to keep a keen eye on that mid lane for us.
It's going to be a very interesting matchup. The Depi SF versus the Invoker Castaway. Thank you, panel, for your academian and your insights to this draft. I hope the Platinophone is recording, because we are going in to the second game of the WRG XTC game. Guys, welcome back. It is now time for XTC to hold their heads held high as they go into the second game. Can they take it to a game number 3?
Well, Jabba, it feels like WRG have had their own xylophography, literally taking that hot poker and engraving their names into the backs of XTC, saying, hey boys, we're here, we're going to take this, you guys can drop back into the lower brackets.
Well, it is going to be interesting. We've got the Gyro pickup this time around, WRG picking up the Shadow Shaman. We've seen a couple of teams yesterday not doing as much as they wanted to on the Shadow Shaman. Maybe a little bit different of showing here for WRG. Can they actually turn this into a win for them?
It's going to be hard, but I must say the lane that I'm going to keeping my eye on the most is going to be that mid. I mean, we have the legendary Castaway Invoker against that SF on the Depi. Yeah, that was actually perfectly timed. Thank you, Santo. Remind me to commend you on Steam later. Yeah, but this is going to be amazing. But I must say, I do like the idea that XC is going for. You do have the Slardar Night Stalker roaming combination, where it's going to try create the space for that Lycan to just split push you out of the game.
Well, I mean, let's not forget about the amount of minus armor that XTC has with the corrosive haze from Slardar, the
SF.
presence of the Dark Lord. We've got the Night Stalker. These are really things that have been crept up from the depths of hell to help out the side of XTC. It is going to be up to them to see if they can actually make it work. WRG picking up the Lich, not a very common pickup for them, but still very happy with the Abaddon.
Auto win lane hero. I mean,
do you like it?
I mean, they've got the sacrifice, which gives you that extra HP. I mean, the extra HP, the extra experience in the lane. So I mean, he is literally taking experience away from your lane. Of course, he's got the amazing nuke, which is the Frost Blast, and then that ice armor against the minus armor strat, definitely the way to go. But then on the other side, they do still have the Abaddon that can also remove that corrosive haze, making it even harder for the armor strat to actually come to fruition. So definitely very good ideas here in the drafting for the side of WRG, but I do like the strat of XTC. I think it is a strong strat and it works more often than not, but WRG being very, very smart in their picks here.
Well, I mean, we did have Jakuru showing his face in the mid lane. Castaway pretty much like, I know this is going to happen to me, boys. I'm not worried. I'm going to take it to the face. And Jakuru actually limps himself back to base on very, very low HP.
And it must also be said, the Shadow Shaman has a very strong presence as well. I mean, he's also good at pushing towers, but he's also good at defending them. So, I really, really do have faith in WRG this game, but I also really have faith in XTC. It's gonna be a tough game. I feel like it could go pretty late, and if it does, it's going to be interesting to see who can actually make it happen. I mean, the Gyrocopter, we've seen him receiving quite a bit of love. He has been buffed. He has gotten that 20% cooldown reduction, which makes his flak cannon viable again. Of course, the homing missile having a less delay on its charge, so it's a bit easier to get off and a bit harder to right-click down these days. So definitely a nice little change-up. And I don't believe I've seen WRG have a Gyrocopter before. It's going to be interesting to see how Whelp will play this hero.
Well, it also looks like XTC has actually sacked out the safe lane here. Going to give Whelp pretty much as much reign and freedom as he wants. And Skynet jumping into the jungle, going to actually farm that up. So Whelp going to pretty much have an easy lane. It's going to also allow the Shadow Shaman to get some rotations happening. He's going to probably just farm the jungle or get his rotation on and his roam on and try and help out mid. But I do see a Slardar making very, very close directions here, or he's changing his vectors to make his way to the mid lane. But it doesn't seem like it. Lich coming out from the back line. Very nice deep ward here for the side of XTC. You can see the perfect rotations and the movements here from the side of WRG.
Now, the rotations from WRG are going to be great, but I'm actually quite impressed that we haven't seen a first blood here in the first 3 minutes. There is an invis rune down towards the bottom lane, so if someone could pick that up, that could be the game changer. That could be the time where we actually get to see the first blood. Skynet again on this Night Stalker. He was pretty underwhelming last game on this hero. Maybe he can bring it back for his team this time around. But it looks like we do have a bit of touch and go here with Jadawi and Schlinks here doing the dual lane against the tri-lane thing. And I must say, it's a pretty easy dual lane for them. I mean, Abba does well against tri-lanes, and then Lich does incredibly well against tri-lanes as well. Coupling those stuff together, get extra experience. They are definitely getting more experience. They're getting way more out of this lane than this tri-lane, and they're going to have to, get a lot of stacks in this jungle here. Dota and Dai going to struggle with those levels for the rotations. I do believe once the Night Stalker gets a few more levels, they can start rotating this combo. But as we say, that Doom Bunny is probably going to go down. This will be your first blood.
Well, they get him under the tier 1 tower. They get the kill on Doom Bunny. Schlinks throwing down the gauntlet, taking out first blood here for WRG, already putting up the points. Chidrawi just being so good at being able to throw out that defenses.
It's just easy for them with this, especially with the Lich. I mean, the Frost Blast in conjunction with the Curse of Avernus, you are slowed to almost a standstill, and it's just the easiest kill. But the rotations here are coming out. Jadawi now on the spot of Messi has not got mana for that Apothic Shield. Schlink's coming and trying to defend his friend here.
Oh, Schlinks gets shielded up, takes off that stun buff, and he is out of it and out for free. In the mid lane, though, while that action was happening in the top, Deppy almost killing Castaway with a beautifully timed rise, and then right-clicking him on the uphill. Castaway back at base.
Back at base indeed, but I mean, I must say, Schlink's going, hey, I'm here, boys. I'm Bates here. I'm here.
Santo, he gets spotted out with the likes of Skynet and Deppy.
Whoa.
Deppy making very easy work of him, already adds a couple of Necromasteries to his name. He is now hitting really, really hard at this point in the game. He's doing 120 damage at the point in time, 123 damage versus Invoker's 100.
Yeah, it is definitely a lot of damage. But I must say, I mean, it's a bit unfortunate since the Shadow Shaman was just there to come and ward sneakily, and he didn't get it off. Got caught out in that jungle over there. But Castaway again, I mean, he's a spellcaster.
Well,
He doesn't really care about the SF armor sitting at 6. There's going to be a nice rotation here onto Sky. Ooh.
Can he close the gap? He does. Sunstrike's out. Deppy taking a huge amount of damage. Can he get out of it? Pops out the Manta. It's not going to be good enough. And Castaway picking up a kill. Santa says, sorry, Castaway, I got picked off. You almost died. Let me come back and make it up to you.
Yeah.
And he takes down Deppy in the mid lane. That's going to hurt his Necromasteries from that very decent start that he did have.
Yeah, definitely. And this is a combo we've seen as a common trend throughout this LAN, is the Shadow Shaman into Invoker pick. I mean, it's the easiest Sunstrike of your life. You stand there and shackle. I mean, and if the Sunstrike doesn't end up killing him, which it tends to do, you have that Ether Shock just to finish the hero off. It's the easiest combo in Dota at the moment in this Masters LAN specifically. I mean these guys.
Legion's been used pretty much.
Legion's been used a lot, but so has the Shadow Shaman.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen the Shadow Shaman used by Energy. We've seen the Shadow Shaman used quite extensively by WRG as well here. But it combos up so nicely with the Invoker, and especially early game for those mid rotations. Skynet's going to find Castaway, but I don't think he can do much. It's a bit of an ambitious thing. Maybe trying to go on his way to gank mid and just got spotted out by Castaway. So that's going to call for him to back out, maybe reset and try again. Since there is no vision there. There is no ward, so they're not going to be able to spot something. But there is a horde of XTC players wrapping around Castaway.
Well, we do have Slardar in the back lines. Dota and Die is there. We've got Doom
4.
Bunny as well.
There's 4.
They got the TPs coming in. They smell the rotations. They turn it around, drops the cold snap onto Doom Bunny. But they do lose Schlinks as he TPs in. And 4 players here for the side of XTC getting involved. And that is what the side of XTC need to do. Create that space for Adestam to get that free farm. Chadawi not moving, not relinquishing himself from this lane. And it is going to be a slaughter. Santo sitting on the high ground here behind the fog of this tree. This tree is probably his best friend at the moment. Mid lane though, Deppy trying to close those raises. Does he have enough? Can he close the gap? One more raise and he does it. Castaway.
Castaway thinking he's safe, you know. I mean, TP rotations came in. There's no way these heroes are still at mid, you know. It failed. Let's go back to the lanes. Thinking he was safe, stepping out a little bit too much far forward, and he pays for it with his life. Oh no, you serious? Deppy just getting every single raise off onto that Lich. Lich coming in to drop the casual sentry down at mid and just pays for it. He walks straight into the mid lane. Deppy's like, okay, you want to come to my lane? I'll show you what it's about. And he just basically absolutely rips Schlinks a new one.
I think his SF's actually a bit better than his Outworld Devourer. I mean, the fact that he's so comfortable on it is so good.
Hold on.
We've got Skynet who's going to go down. They use the Sunstrike. They use the call down. Santo getting that shackles off, keeping him in position. And like you said, easy setups for Castaway.
Easy setups for Castaway and also easy setups for the gyro. It allows him to get, of course, that rocket barrage off on full duration. Then the call down as well. It's just, I mean, Shadow Shaman's just such a good setup for so much of these heroes. It really, really is. And of course, then you've got the combination of the Max Curse of Avernus going the way of Chadawi with the Lich Frost Blast. It's just, there's just so much nice synergy and combinations in this lineup at the moment. I really am liking the skill builds they're going for here.
Well, taking a look at the bottom lane, Whelp hasn't really moved out of the bot lane pretty much. He's sitting 66 and 20 versus Deppy's Shadow Fiend at 70 and 25. He's doing really, really well.
Yes, he is doing really, really well.
Hold that thought though. Top lane, and they're going to bring down Chadawi. Adestam, very low HP. Can Whelp close the gap? Oh! And TP's out. The salva's not going to be good enough. And Whelp, he walks away with the last hit. Can he dive the tier 1 tower? As Doom Bunny is trying to hide in the trees for a little bit of
that was super unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I mean your only option is to TP out, but you created the vision for Whelp to get the last flat cannon
away.
off.
He could be in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, Dota and Die, not level 6 yet. Can't get the corrosive haze off, and he's going to be able to walk away in Ghost Walk. They do lose Santo though, and that cold snap on Dota and Die, just being able to stop that Slither and Crush landing on himself, being able to get away. But now Adestam top lane. Going down to Whelp, may go down to Whelp here.
Again.
He's hiding through the trees.
Just
Can he
TP.
juke around? He has no more mana. Flat cannon is available. Adestam using the trickeries of the bush to escape, and Whelp
This reminds me.
left walking with an empty hand.
This reminds me of one of the best dukes I've seen in Dota, South African Dota, is when Adestam was, I can't believe exactly what LAN it was. I think it was one of the ball events where he was on the Lone Druid. You know when Lone Druid was exceptionally strong?
Was a thing.
It was a thing.
Yeah.
He just duked through the trees with his bear as well. He kited almost the entire enemy team. And he got lucky because Gyro went the other way around, but still a very, very good duke. But I must say, I mean, the Shadow Shaman going down in the mid there, not so much of a bad thing. I mean, the Castaway got out, so I'd rather have the Shadow Shaman dying than your mid Castaway. So definitely a good trade there. But I wanted to say though, when Whelp just decided to YOLO TP into the top lane there, they would have actually gotten out if Dota and Die wasn't TPing right in the vision, because he gave the Gyro vision to get the last flak cannon off to kill off Adestam. I mean, if he just ran with Adestam, I don't think he would have had the range, or he wouldn't have had the vision to get the last flak cannon off, because it was very, very slowly timing out. I think they should have all just ran away instead of one TPing. That was extremely unfortunate there.
Well, the pings do come out. Dota and I spots this rotation from WRG. While that's happening top, they're going to try and push down mid. XTC committing to the mid lane. Castaway is getting pinged out. He drops the ball. Adestam changes to that werewolf. And he's actually just not going to actually engage. They see the likes of Schlinks. And he gets away. Dwayne the Rock Johnson Adestam.
Thanks, production.
But Depi is not too scared, dropping a couple of the razors. They're going to be able to take down this tier 1 really quickly. Top lane, though, the Whelp and Santo going to try and make a maneuver here. They're going to commit the snakes. So really want to take objectives here for WRG. At the same token, in the mid lane, it does fall down to Depi. He picks himself up a decent 200 gold.
You know, they really are trying to defend these fortresses of theirs. These towers, you know, you can't, it's not like a Balestier where you can, you know, hide into your little window cave and shoot your arrows from the tower. It's not like that. It's exposed, and it's really, really hard to defend this. I mean, the Shadow Shaman being sneaky, trying to split push into the tier 2s, you don't see that often, especially with something as squishy as that. But, I mean, it just makes it so easy. I mean, yes, they got the tier 1 in the mid, but, I mean, they're almost losing their tier 2, having to rotate, and then, again, creating space for WRG just to do whatever they want. I mean, Chidawi now again, I mean, he's here harassing Skynet. Skynet's supposed to be roaming around the map. It's nighttime, boys. I mean, and he's not. He's stuck here, like, you know, trying to hold off Chidawi. I mean, this is not ideal. These towers are falling. I mean, you having the heroes that are supposed to be roaming and ganking, not roaming and ganking. Chidawi is just like, you know, going ham. He's like, I don't care. You can cripple me all you want. You can try put your silence on me. I've still got my LT. I'm pretty comfortable right now. You know, I mean, unless they rotate more than one hero in, they're not going to kill off Chidawi here. He's just going to keep being a nuisance.
Well, it's going to be really tough to actually bring down Chidawi. They don't have too much lock. They've got things to kind of slow him down, and the only lock they really have is a Slytherin Crush and the Ice Path here from the side of XTC. Is it going to be enough? Well, we're going to have to wait and see. In the previous game, Chidawi had a magnificent game. They were forcing out Bane ults just to make him use his borrowed time, and then hopefully coupling that up with the Astral Imprisonment, which didn't happen. And that kind of went lame. This time around, XTC going for a little bit of a different draft, and maybe they can deal with the Abba this time around. Hasn't been as effective as he was in the previous game. And this time around, Skynet not getting the roam and ganks off that you'd want, but he has got his hand of Midas up, so we're going to start seeing him rush.
It's rushing for that Aghanim Scepter, yeah. And it's super important for him as well. But, I mean, it kind of feels like it's falling into the trap of last game where, yes, you pick the Night Stalker, it's amazing, but it's underwhelming again. I mean, Skynet just doesn't have the space that he needs. They're slowly losing advantage on the map. They're slowly losing their space on the map. And a Night Stalker needs that space. You need to be able to provide that roaming power, especially when you have a Slardar. I mean, just to create space for the Like and the SF, just to split push, maybe win some team fights. It's just not happening for XTC right now. And it feels like they're going to need to fight this team 5-on-5. And you don't want to do that against this lineup. There's just way too much wombo combo on the side of WRG. You cannot fight them 5-on-5. And I mean, I don't know how they're going to stop this. They cannot stop this push. They cannot stop this escalation.
Well, they know something you do, because XTC, they are going in. Instant TP's coming out from Santo and Whelp. In the meantime, Schlinks is going to be the one that takes one for the team. They do drop the ball. It's bouncing between Deppy and Adestam. They're going to play a little bit of basketball, yeah, baby. And eventually they do get out, forcing the rotations from XTC, know exactly and do exactly what they want. Going to be able to open up the mid lane here. Skynet's the only one that's fast enough to react to this and maybe push him off. Maybe they can push him off this tower. It's not going to be enough. Whelp is hiding here in the sidelines, waiting for his teammate Castaway. He's going to drop the hammer. He's going to land on Skynet. They're not going to go down, though. They drop the Macrophire. Now DotA and I trying to work onto Whelp. Whelp being very aggressive, hiding here in the bush. Can the rest of the team help out?
To be honest, there's nowhere else for him to go.
I mean, behind the tier 1 tower, there is no ways that
super
Mr.
aggressive.
Schlinks or Mr. Invoker can actually help out.
Yeah, he was being super aggressive, and I mean, he's going to pay for that. I mean,
let's take a look at the positioning of the rest of WRG as that all went down.
They were nowhere near.
I mean, look, Whelp was in the sidelines. Invoker was making his way up mid. Drops the ice path, drops the call down. Macrophire coming out, and look at this. Whelp is on the other side of the tower, and you can see on the minimap, Lich and Castaway trying to get there. But they call it off. I mean, he's behind the tier 1. The force that would have to get involved there.
Look, completely out of position, trying to make a very ambitious kill on his own. Didn't drop out the rocket there, the homing missile. I mean, Night Stalker gonna fly over the trees, losing the vision of him as well. It's just greedy, and he's gonna pay for it. There's no way a team like XTC is gonna let that slide. But as we say, that Chadawi now in a bit of trouble.
Okay, Skynet wants it. He pops the ult. Okay, no, I think that was just a false alarm, guys. False alarm. Back down. They're not going to actually follow out Chadawi. Too much expended to actually bring him down, but let's just stay in this area. Skynet may not give up. Do they use a scan to actually see where they are? In the meantime, while that's all happening in the mid lane, there's a little bit of action happening here. They glyph out the mid tower. Do they have enough to actually take down this tower? Whelp, he's sitting on the front lines. Corrosive Haze been thrown out. Castaway, he's casting like a beauty. Throws out the Cold Snap. He's got Sunstrike available to him if he wants to use it. Drops an exiting ward as they decide to get out. Corrosive Haze, you can't fight under that. Plus the presence of the Dark Lord. It is sitting on level 3 at the moment. Sunstrike.
Well, that's what you have your Abaddon for, to get that Corrosive Haze off your heroes. You have Lich to counter with the Ice Armor, now at level 2. Leveling it above Frostblast, I think this is very smart. You really need that against a minus armor strat. You just need to pile on the armor, boys. DotA and Die hungry, looking for a kill.
Well, he jumps in. DotA and Die trying to close the gap. BKB up by Deppy, called down from Whelp. Can they do enough? 3 of the XC players fighting under their call down. Castaway and Schlinks in the backlines getting frostbited up. Now we've got the Lycanthrope trying to run away, but Cold Snap is making it super difficult. Homing missile in hot pursuit. Doom Buddy very low HP. Can they bring him down? Well, making magic happen there. And that is Stam getting stunned out here in the backlines as DotA and Die, Skynet do just run the direction and get away. This is going to be, Sunstrike from Castaway picking up the on Adestam.
Look, I mean, Deppy and DotA and Die spread out completely away from their team, looking for anything they could get. And they ended up getting the Shadow Shaman on the sides, but I feel abandoning their team was not exactly the best idea. Deppy now in a world of pain, a world of trouble, going to try to get that ulti off. Not going to be able to do much, but it is going to discourage the rest of them from chasing him.
Well, he was almost going to pop up the Requiem while he had borrowed time on. He stopped it in good form.
Well,
can he get the son of your card? Cold Snap is just too good, baby.
He might actually pay for a chase. Still got the Corrosive Haze on him, but unfortunately, that's slow. Deppy just can't do anything.
Can someone say Zeus? Can just someone say Zeus? They're going to actually shrine it up here. Regen his HP and, well, going to be able to walk away with his life. But, I mean, that Cold Snap coming out from Castaway, not allowing DotA and Die to get that crush off, absolutely devastated him there.
Yeah, but, I mean, that Ice Armor is doing so much work at the moment. I mean, it's adding 7 armor to these heroes. Not only that, the enemy movement slow is 30%, and the attack slow, really important, is also at 30. So it is doing a ton of work right now. That ice armor lich, I mean, this was a very, very smart pick. Not only are you going to auto win your lane, which evident they auto win their lane, but it's so good. I know I'm harping on about it, but
look how cheeky Chadawi is, yeah. He's pretty much alone in the top lane, surrounded by the XTC players. I mean, he's creating so much space.
He's going to die for this. If he can TP out of this.
Okay, they're going to crush him out. They're going to actually control him, and then he goes, pays the price.
Too much burst.
Okay.
Too much damage.
DotA2 says, listen, take the damage back. Let's just control you. Let's not juke us through the trees. And they perfectly control him.
I don't know if that was actually a space creation moment, and they didn't really take any objectives with that. But I suppose it does delay
out those creeps.
Yeah, I suppose it does delay the fight a bit. And I mean, he's back in 24 seconds. They can viably defend here the tier 1. And they've got a shrine available as well. Oh, but they're popping. Okay, that's a bit of an early pop on shrine. I feel like if
combat ready. That's their game plan.
They are combat ready.
Combat ready.
They are combat ready.
HP
but they can,
up, mana up.
Yeah. But they can also force a fight onto the tier 1 here top if XTC decided to push, and then kind of bait them into the shrine and fight under shrine. That could have been the play as well.
Oof. We've got Skynet super close to his eggs now at the moment. He's got enough to actually pick up his one item, and then he's going to finish it off with his Blade of Accuracy, and then done. And then he's got his eggs going to be producing so much vision for his team.
I must say, though, this game is going a lot better than game 1. It doesn't feel like XTC are just getting steamrolled at the moment. I mean, they are holding their own here. Yes, they are losing.
Well, let's take a look at the graphs. I mean, the graphs is going to tell us a story.
They're only 500 gold net worth behind by the looks of things.
XTC's ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
XTC's ahead.
That's what I'm saying. They're only about 500 gold net worth behind at the moment.
2,000 ahead of
2,000
WRG.
ahead, yeah. So they are doing better than they were in the first game, but
Castaway getting jumped on, throws down the tornado. Chadawi getting held out here by the ice path, and I think XTC, they're going to maybe want to try and call it and get themselves out here. Macropie is down on the deck. Don't even goes down. Whelp takes down Adestam. Deppy, he's going to take a brunt. He's going to pop his Requiem. Sing it, Mozart, sing it, baby. And they drop him now as well. They're trying to chase on further, but our Doom Bunny gets out.
And instantly that gold swing now with a 2,000k net worth lead onto WRG just from one team fight. And this is going to be very dangerous here. This is going to open up a tier 2 for them.
Yeah, they're going to take tier 2 in the meantime. Take us to the replay.
Yeah,
show us what happened there. They're right. The Macrofire comes down on the sidelines. Chadawi takes down Dota and Die. The Frost Chain happening, hitting across the Ancients, but Deppy taking a big Requiem. And the Borrowed Time coming out from Chadawi. Absolutely beautiful, taking very little damage there. And WRG, they now jump into the pit.
It feels
that rock.
It just feels like yes, we got the Aghanim Scepter on the gyro here, but it felt like, I felt like the SF was a bit more tankier than that, and he went down so fast with the BKB. It's actually quite scary.
No, it is. That showed the real full fight potential of the side of WRG.
Chadawi.
It was massive, but Chadawi...
Yeah, you get out of this fine.
I mean, he was being a little bit frisky there. Borrowed Time is on cooldown.
Yeah, I do like how they disengaged the Lich ulti, though, with the Chain Frost. I mean, pulling it onto the Ancient Creeps instead of the entire team. But it does create a panic mode in a team fight where, oh, no, we have to split up now because there's a Chain Frost.
There's something chasing me.
It creates so much havoc in a team fight where you have to split up, because if you stay bunched and you're fighting, that Chain Frost is going to get you. So it forces your team to split up. And that is the biggest problem here for them. When they fight 5-on-5 with WRG, they've just got too much wombo combo, too much team fight for them to deal with. They cannot do this. They cannot fall into that trap. They have to keep playing the game they were playing.
Yep. Well, Ags is up onto Skynet. That is going to be a big change. Castaway, can you see what he's building into? That is going to be devastating. Absolutely devastating for the Lycan. Adestam is not going to be able to get anywhere. Building himself into their Rod of Atos. They've taken down the tier 2, making their way up onto the high ground here. Tier 3 under pressure. as XTC aren't really in position. Adestam in the top lane, looking to still take down that top lane of Rax. Tornado comes down, the call comes down. Whelp in the middle, the Requiem comes out. BK being popped out here from Deppy, fighting under the Macropire. Shadrawi trying to keep Whelp alive, not going to happen. Chain Frost comes out, passed away, fasting, pushing forward here with the Spirit Forges. Now Deppy, that's stunned out. Abaddon hitting away, Whelp cleaning out the masses. Aegis is on the deck. The snakes are heading down the racks. Whelp trying to kill down the Skynet. Dirt and Die pays with his life. He goes down. They lose the Skynet. They get the buyback here from Dirt and Die. Isn't enough to stop the onslaught here of WRG. Castaway throws down the EMP, the Tornado. Aspal's trying to call it, separate the spot. It's not going to work out. Adestam being homing missiled up. Dirt and Die trying to stun out the Whelp. Is it going to be enough? Adestam gets caught out there by the Ashitawi. And it is almost a full 5-team man wipe. Only buyback available on Adestam.
Oh, they're fountain diving, boys.
Can they
They're
actually
doing
do it? They're jumping into the fountain. Doom Bunny Glimmer caping up. Can he make it happen? Castaway dancing in the base under the fountain. And the GGs have been called. Good game, WRG. Take the series 2-0. Unbelievable performance from WRG. XTC played their heart out.
XTC did way better than they did in the first game. And I felt like they had that game. They could have potentially won that game exceptionally easy. It's just, well, not easy. It's never easy against White Rapper Gaming, right? But XTC, I mean, they were not falling into the trap. You know, they were not doing what WG wanted them to do, and they were actually gaining a bit of advantage. As we saw, they were ahead of net worth by a little bit, but I mean, it was like that. It was a little bit swing this way, a swing that way. So for me, like looking at it, it was relatively even in a lot of the cases, but unfortunately, they took one or two bad team fights where they decided to go head on against that team fight potential on WRG and just completely lost it.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, all the buybacks trying their best to defend the racks. It was just really, really hard for them. WRG took the fight to XTC and, yeah, they won, and they won 2-0. And this was even faster than the last game. I believe the last game was, 35 minutes or 30 minutes? This went down to 25 minutes.
And it's tough because I have a lot more confidence in XTC. I didn't see the Adestam that we normally see. Deppy was a very dominant mid on his SF.
Yeah.
I mean, Adestam didn't get those big hard hitters and just struggled as much with the Lycan. Just didn't do as much as he wanted. He got caught out. He got shut down from the side of WRG. The rotations from them were really, really good.
It really was.
So that means.
Maybe just a different hero, not the Night Stalker, perhaps. Maybe a different hero in this draft would have potentially done a little bit better. Could maybe get more accomplished on the map than the Night Stalker. Look, Skynet, amazing player, right?
What about the Nyx? Do you think the Nyx would have done?
No, I don't think Nyx would have made any significant difference here. But definitely in the Night Stalker, it felt like in both games it was just so underwhelming. He couldn't do Night Stalker things. He couldn't be Batman.
Yeah.
You know, and. For me, like, I just honestly feel like a different pick would have been more justifiable and maybe gotten them to the later stages of the game or allow them to split push a bit more.
Yeah. Well, we've got Whelp on 8-for-1. I mean, he pretty much had a free farming late bot. His net worth was 15K, sitting highest of the charts, then followed by Castaway. Had a very tough mid, had a lot of rotations coming out from the side of XTC. But Whelp dealing out the damage, sitting with about 19K, just under 20K worth of damage. Looking at the side of XTC, Deppy holding his head, sitting 7-4-3. Adestam, not the performance, not the kind of call and carry that we've seen in the past.
Yeah, I mean, he did get shut down quite hard, and I also feel like he got outdrafted and picked a lot. But my main thing is, though, Deppy, I mean, what a player. This guy is so mechanically sound and strong, and it's really hard to see someone like that, you know.
I mean, look at the graphs. Look how ridiculous those graphs look.
Yeah, it was
XTC
up, down. It was relatively even, and then swung this way, swung back that way. It's one of the weirdest graphs I've seen in a while, actually.
look, I mean, if I have an ECG and I see a pretty girl, then that's what my heartbeat would look like. But anyway, it is time for us to say goodbye of the series. WRG take it 2-0. XTC, it gets lowered to the lower bracket and will have to go up against EN. So panel, Devin with that beautiful beard.
Hull bear. I'm joking. I'm joking. I won't do it.
How's it going, guys? You're good to be back here?
It's good to be back. After that exciting game, I feel that XTC definitely had the chance to take that. But because, I don't know, that Invoker was BVD's most banned hero against WRG last year. And then casually, XTC comes in and say, let Castaway play his favorite hero in competitive gaming.
But I can say this, from what I saw, they emphasized a lot on punishing Castaway for any wrong movements. They put a lot of supports there, but Castaway didn't really step out of line at all. If anything, the supports rotated in, and that quickly got, they only got that kill, so it was a lot of rotation, so it was a lot of time consumed, whereas if they got the kill onto Castaway, things could have been a completely different story. I mean, Depi was well ahead of Castaway for a big period of the game. It was just that now the supports have left Adestam alone up against a Abaddon, which is just not a favorable matchup at all. I think he had 0 last hits at about 5 minutes in. It was a really big punish that WRG threw at them.
Yeah. Well, all the same, XC now have an opportunity to play up against NG Esports in the lower bracket finals. That itself is going to be a pretty impressive matchup. I believe you're casting that, Scarpy?
Yeah.
You must be really looking forward to that one. It potentially could be the game, like as far as competitiveness goes, the game of the tournament.
Yeah.
Sounds some jealousy over there, Halberd.
No.
It's like, I want to cast lower brackets finals as well.
Not at all. I'm just going to take off the beard, get sort of ambush Scarpy, put on the blue shirt. No one will know the difference. Just rock up there.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, but I feel that XTC has to not only show their strength in their draft, but on their picks, but also with the bans as well. I think if they can ban a Meepo against XD, they can do an Invoker against Castaway. I feel that they should really weaken the enemy's draft and not just make their own draft better or their own picks better, but ignoring the enemy team.
How's Depi's Invoker, out of curiosity?
That was really good. I think top three in the country.
Because the kind of thing you can sort of block pick with as well.
He's like he's really good on Invoker, but his SF is, I think I dare say this, that he is right up there with Castaway. I think his SF is insane. I don't think I didn't see him miss a single raise. It's the last person I'd ever want to play SF Wars against. He is incredible.
I feel like we should make this happen now, right? It's organize with Depi versus Scarpy, SF solo mid. Let's go.
The winner gets what?
I don't know. I don't really think means Scarpy, but because I know what would happen if I was there. It would just be it would be one-way traffic, and I would not be very pleased with the end result. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be willing to put money on it. Put it that way.
Just for the fun of it, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But one thing about XTC's draft, they played well under the Neomenia moonlight. When it was dark, they sort of utilized that space that they created by restricting the vision, buffing up their heroes, and they bought a lot of extra time for themselves in this game. So that was probably their goal, shut down Castaway. If anything, let's Adestam just have to deal with this difficult lane, and then later on into the game, Nightstalker will buff up your Lycan and so on. It looked like there was a potential for it to work, but I mean, you give a team like WRG a hand, they're going to take your arm, and unfortunately, there was not much more they could do once the landslide began.
Mm-hmm. So, before we go to break, there's two things that we need to take care of. The first one is I actually wanted to run through a couple of interesting stats with everybody. Number of games is the first one. So we've played 20 games so far. We've picked 78 heroes in this tournament, which is pretty good, all things considered. We've banned out 54. On 10 occasions, a player has ended a match without dying. The most picked hero at the moment is Crystal Maiden. I just want to make a very important request to Sargon, and I say this with some fear. What was yours? Was Timbersaw your most picked? Was like fourth most picked?
Fourth most picked, yes.
Right, so can we also maybe just add to this, Mr. Sargon, if you're listening, the fourth most picked hero, see if Mr. Reigns over here is correct?
I really doubt there's been like, what, one game of Timbersaw?
I think there's been,
Okay, maybe
I remember at
maybe
least
more.
two. I remember at least
Carter
two.
played at Timbersaw
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think it's be fourth picked, but it will be nice to
Just to see how
just to see
far
which
I
one it
am.
actually is, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
The most picked hero, as mentioned, is Crystal Maiden, and the most banned hero is Warlock. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
It's quite funny because I think most of those Crystal Maidens go down to Fury, which is pretty.
At least probably half of it, or even more.
Because I think he had 5 and there's been 8.
Oh, okay.
So there's
more,
that.
Yeah.
Now, one particular stat that definitely has a really like soft spot, or I have a really soft spot for, is probably one of the the most wonderful moments of this entire event. And I'm sure you can all appreciate it. It was when XTC's side were looking really, really good, and a particular player was really, really close to getting a rampage, and then a particular Dota and Die just said no, just shut that door down. So number of rampages denied was 1, and that's hey, there's no tablet here. There's no tablet here.
No cheating. There's no cheating here, right? It's on the brains.
There's only my clipboard, my faithful clipboard.
Busted. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, the one, that is impressive, Sargon. So we have live stats, by the way, and top 10 most picked heroes. So why don't we go through it and we'll get this out the way. So from top to bottom, it's Crystal Maiden, Jakiro, Darkseer, Shadow Shaman, Warlock, Legion Commander, Troll Warlord, Invoker, Juggernaut, and Shadow Fiend. No Timbersaw, unfortunately, Mr. Reigns.
Quite a couple of supports. I kind of like that.
I think Shadow Shaman's one of the big surprises for me of this patch, as it were. It's sort of doing very well.
Yeah.
The last order of business, though, before we go into the break, is to announce that apparently, if you want to win a prize, you need to either be a former player, a statsman, or a shoutcaster that is inactive on this tournament. So congratulations to Snare for winning the XTC signed shirt. I promise there's no nepotism involved. I'm sure he'll love it. He's, I'm sure, a big fan of XC himself.
Yeah.
So congrats again. On that note, guys, we will be back a little bit later with that low bracket finals, as mentioned. Energy Sports versus XC. It is really going to be something pretty fantastic to watch. Once again, this is where you need to be right now. If you're anywhere else, you're making a mistake, cancel those plans. Don't care what they are. Come watch this game. It really is something you don't want to miss. But for now, let's go into a quick break and we'll see you a bit later. Cheers and goodbye.
You